Hello and welcome to Cuesta Sports Monthly, an in-depth look at Cuesta athletics. I'm Peter Schuler and welcome to Cuesta Sports Monthly. Today it's water polo and we will be joined by athletes from both the men's and women's team. We shall open with Ethan Merrit and Matthew Wheeler of the men's team and then visit with Presley Acosta and Leanna Reed from the women's squad. And just before we go, we'll sit down with Vice President Jason Curtis for the interview portion of our show. So welcome to Cuesta Sports Monthly, Ethan and Matthew. Season got a whole new thing going out there at water polo right now. New coach. You guys are redshirting this year. Let's talk about the coaching transition. You up until the season started, Coach Marsh was with the team, and then he decided to retire. How's that transition been? I know you guys were on your own for a while.
Yeah, so I mean, being on our own for a while was pretty difficult because we just had to run practice just with us. So there was a few other members of the team, our second years, like Matthew and I, and Dante, Jake Burns. We all just had to step up and teach the team for about a month and a half because I think Marsh was out around August 3rd or 2nd, and then we just got a coach about 2 weeks ago. So from those whole months, we were on our own.
Now, how does that for the team? I mean, I know you guys had a lot of veterans like you two, and the guys back from last year's squad that finished fourth in the state. You got a lot of talent and a lot of experience there.
Yeah.
How did that help? How were you guys able to keep that team together for that month plus until you got a new head coach?
Well, it was hard. We did lose a couple of guys, but just really sticking through it, just every day, just continuing to stay as a group, stay as a team, just knowing that at the end of the tunnel we're eventually going to get a coach, and hopefully he was the right fit, and he was the right fit for us. So
you have Greg Enlow on board. So how easy was that for him? I mean, he kind of came in, he's done a lot of stuff, he's been a lot of places, he has some experience, he runs clinics, so he's kind of used to having kids running in and out, so he's probably making a quick attachment. Did that happen with you guys?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like the whole team was very anxious to get a coach, and we all wanted to be coached because we were tired of each other. Like, we were all sick of each other, you know? But yeah, it's been an easy transition, and everyone's super susceptible to learning from him. So.
All right. So now you guys, both had big freshman years. We'll talk about that later. But coming in there of that important team, and then this year, as a team was looking for a coach. How do you feel about now that you're kind of redshirting this year? What brought you guys to that conclusion that let's take this year off?
Well, when the season started, we still hadn't had a coach, and there was still no end in sight of when we would get a coach. So we decided to take this year off just in case, what if we never do get a coach? That was our biggest worry.
Valid.
Yeah, and then once we did get a coach, it was already pretty late into the season. That's why we continued to stay redshirting and play next year.
Now your plan is to be back for next year and
absolutely.
Back for swimming. So both of you guys also had a pretty good swimming year last year.
Yes.
You were all conference diving. Ethan,
just found that out.
Well, top 5 are all conference, and you're 5th, so you got congratulations on that. Ethan, you went to state. You had a great year, made All-American in swimming. Are you guys kind of psyched up for swimming now, or are you just swimming is something that happens after polo type thing?
Yeah, I mean, right now we're just focused on polo and getting better for next year, absolutely. But yeah, super excited for swim to see what we can do this year. I think we make a big splash. We got some few fast guys coming in, so we'll see.
I mean, guys have been just cranking out the awards lately. So, if you had this season coming up, what are you kind of, when you see that team right now, minus you two, how you feel about those guys' chances to continue the streak of 44 straight years of playoffs, maybe going back to state? Do you see that with this team right now?
Absolutely. I think we can 100% make SoCal. I think our biggest worry is making states. So we should continue to keep that streak of SoCal, just see how well we do in states.
Yeah, because our numbers are really down right now. Because we had 2 guys leave midway through the season before we had a coach, and then a few other players just decided that they didn't want to play anymore. And then with us redshirting, our numbers are really down. So our problem isn't our necessarily skill, but it's our numbers and our subs.
Yeah, you guys have an interesting team. You seem to have a lot of lefties out there. Is that kind of?
We're down to our last lefty. One of our
injuries.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But another guy you guys talked about earlier was one of your co-captains early in the season, Dante. He's kind of having a big year right now.
Yeah.
What do you guys see when you see his development over the last year or so?
Huge development from Dante. I mean, I don't know how fast he was before last year, but this year he can swim up and down the pool pretty good, and he's a big body in the pool. He can move you around. So, and he's gotten a lot better. So.
Now you guys have seen most of the teams in the conference right now. You got LA Valley coming up this week. You guys actually have 5 games in 3 days as you go down play some of those NAIA and 4-year schools down at the Cal Baptist tournament. How do you guys feel the team's going to do down there? And what's the difference when you guys, and you did it last year too, but going down to play those 4-year schools as compared to just staying in the community college level?
The biggest difference is experience and size. A lot of those 4-year schools, and a lot of the guys are seniors, 22, 23. Oldest guys we have here are 19. We have one guy that's 20. So that's the biggest deal is, with those 4 years, you gain a lot of strength and a lot of
old
size.
man strength kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, Ethan, you came here from Porterville. What was like? Why did you decide to come here from Porterville?
Well, I mean,
besides the beach.
Yeah. The beach is nice, but I knew a few guys on the team already, and they told me a lot of good things about Cuesta and Marsh, and it seemed like a really good fit where I could play immediately, and that's what I ultimately wanted, is just to play as much as I can, at the highest level I can. So that was kind of my decision.
And you're just up the road in Visalia, a little bit further up the road, but what brought you besides a car? What brought you to Central Coast?
Well, my 2 biggest priorities when picking college were to be able to play water polo and just live by the beach. And Cuesta just provided both those things pretty well for me. So.
Well, both you guys seem like you want to stay by the beach. I mean, you're kind of hoping to go to UCSB. Are you planning on swimming and playing there?
No, I don't have any plans of where I want to go yet, but I mean, UCSB would be a fun spot to go for sure.
And you're kind of interested in Cal-Lu, which is kind of open.
Yeah, Cal-Lu would be fun. I just want to play water polo down in SoCal, really.
Okay. All right. Now this one's kind of going to go a little bit. I know we've talked about what it's like during, coming back and playing on the team. But what was it like for you guys? I'm just kind of curious because that was kind of your senior year during the pandemic. What was that kind of like for you guys coming in and then going into college that way?
Well, I know a lot of areas like in California were able to play water polo our junior year, and unfortunately in our area we were unable to play water polo. So, I mean, we lost a year of water polo, and then our senior year I feel like was a good learning year for all of us, and with the younger players as well. Just because, I don't know, like the competition wasn't like necessarily like harder, but it was like just as hard just because everyone hasn't played in so long.
Okay. Well, Ethan Merrit, Matthew Wheeler, thank you for joining us here at Cuesta Sports Monthly. Good luck for the rest of the fall with your redshirt years, and we look forward to seeing you guys in swimming. So that does it for men's water polo on Cuesta Sports Monthly. We'll be back with women's water polo coming up with Presley Acosta and Leanna Reed when Cuesta Sports Monthly returns.
This program is produced by Cuesta Broadcasting. Start your radio, TV, and film career at Cuesta College.
We're back on campus with water polo here on Cuesta Sports Monthly. We are joined by returning all-conference driver Presley Acosta and freshman Leanna Reed. Presley, Leanna, welcome to Cuesta Sports Monthly.
Thank you.
How's the season going out there so far?
Pretty good, I'd say. I mean, we've got a lot of talent this year. It's looking really excited. I'm super stoked for this squad.
Now, you guys kind of jumped out early, had a good start to the season. Smaller squad this year again. A couple of injuries impacting you as you get into conference play. How do you feel like you guys going to rebound and come back and finish out strong?
I think so. It's just kind of hit or miss because most of our injuries are concussions, and so you can never tell with a concussion.
Well, last year you guys kind of had a little bit of the same issue. Still made playoffs at that strong end of the season. How are you feeling about this team compared to last year? And you guys seem to be a little bit stronger depth-wise.
Yeah, I feel like our team this year, everybody's a lot more experienced. We don't have as much, not as many players who are like novice, So I'm super excited to see. I feel like we'll go a lot farther than we did last year just with the talent and like the knowledge that we have this season.
Now, Leanna, how's the transition been for you? We talked a little bit before we went on air about playing at the Paso pool, which is shallow, deep, and very small. Welcome to Big Water. How is it for you?
It's pretty deep, I do have to say. It's been a little bit of a challenge, but honestly, it's such a great experience because I'm learning so much, more so than I did at Paso, which is great, and the girls are amazing, so it's been nice.
Now, you got a couple of returning starters with Presley and Chloe, and so how has that been that you guys bringing in the new kids, and how's it been being a new kid brought in on the team?
I'd say it was a little bit more difficult in the beginning just because we're all coming from different teams. So, we've all learned different things. We've played a different way, but I feel like at this point in our season, we're all kind of finally starting to click and, excel together for sure.
And so now everybody's kind of playing the Grootsmacher way. Is that?
Yeah, that's what I'd say. Yeah, her way or the highway, definitely.
So last year was Rachel's first year, and you got to play on that team, and she kind of came in at basically the start of the season.
Yeah.
What have you seen? What have you learned from her, and what do you think she's learning as a coach as you go? And positive things only.
Yeah. I think she's definitely learned to be a lot more patient with us because, like I said, we're all coming from different teams. We know different things. So it's definitely a challenge to kind of like reinforce new habits. But I'm super excited. She's teaching us a lot of like really great things, and I feel like she's really helping us to develop as players.
You see her growth as a coach, and
yeah, for sure.
Is she not putting up as much nonsense as?
No, she's a great coach. It's her first year doing it, so there's a lot to learn. But I think she's doing a great job. I really respect her as a coach.
All right. Now, Leanna, you're kind of coming in. This is your local college, and Cuesta's kind of different, where almost half the students are from outside of San Luis Obispo County.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of local colleges, if you went to Porterville Community College, you probably were from Porterville.
Yeah.
But players like Ethan and Matthew from the men's team came over from Cuesta. And that thing. How does that feel? Because you're a local kid to have all that's experience that's kind of it's almost like a bigger college feel. Is that?
Yeah, well, I definitely thought coming to Cuesta it'd be a lot more local people, but obviously I was wrong. But no, we have some girls from like Hollister, Santa Cruz on our team. I think Chloe, the other co-captain, is from Rigetti. But it's been really cool because, like Presley said earlier, we all come from different backgrounds and different coaching styles, and so getting to learn like everyone's lingo and everyone's style, it helps like me grow as a player, and I think it helps the girls grow as well. So it's been cool.
All right. Well, this is cool. That's great. Now, you're having a pretty good season, and are you looking to play again at the next level? I know you're talking about Davis. They have a team there, but also Cal Poly. Where are you kind of going? Or you just concentrated on this?
Well, given the opportunity, I'd love to continue playing. I've been talking to a few coaches. It's just about finding like the right program where I really feel like I'm gonna excel and become a better player, better student, better person. So I'm still on the lookout, but I'd love to keep playing.
All right. Now, for you, water polo wise, we talked about the shallow pool and stuff like that, but what's the big difference? What was the jump for you from high school to college in the water polo sense?
I guess, well, honestly, there's a lot different. I was expecting, I came in not expecting to be like challenged in a way, I guess, which sounds kind of like bad, but I definitely was. It's definitely, I think, more mental than high school is. I think high school gets caught up in all the physical aspects of it, and college ball is a huge mental game, which has been a challenge for me, but I'm getting through it.
Now you're kind of a set D player, and that's what you like to do. But is that, have you had to transition on that too? Is that?
I have, yes. Rachel does not normally put me in set D, which is fine. I've learned to, in my new position as driver, it's definitely a lot more. I have to move a lot more, but that's okay. Keeps me in shape.
Now, so do you think I think you've become a pretty solid offensive player. Do you think you're more of a offensive player now than defensive? Is that kind of been one of your transitions there?
I think so, yeah. In high school, I was a little bit more level with both offensive and defensive side, but I've definitely been more offensive this season, which is cool because it's a different side of the game that you normally don't play. Now,
how about you? You've got all these young kids in now. You were the young kid last year.
Yeah.
Is that you kind of, especially with Rachel, and she's still a young coach. Have you and Chloe and such kind of had to step up in that leadership role, or are you just kind of playing your game?
Yeah, I'd say definitely the returners have had to step up into more of a bigger role on the team. Just like taking the younger girls under our wing, kind of like showing them around, showing them the ropes. But yeah, I'd say we have for sure.
Like you had a good tournament up in Cabrillo, up in Santa Cruz. You guys kind of had a little chance to kind of bond and do those type of things. Are you guys doing things to kind of keep the team together?
Yeah, we have a lot of us hang out outside of practice and stuff. So, I mean, I feel like we're all always together. But yeah, the Cabrillo tournament, that was super fun. We had the opportunity to go to Santa Cruz, go to the beach, hang out. That was super fun. We all played mini golf. Rachel was very competitive, per usual, but it was still super fun.
So, I mean, you guys hang out and do stuff. Are you, like hikes? I mean, I know you like to hike. What are some of the best hikes? Have you been taking the team out on hikes and stuff?
They actually went on a hike, Bishop's Peak. Thank goodness I had to miss it because that's a rough hike. But they came back seeming like they bonded. So we try and do a lot of things like that. Or we went to the beach and did beach volleyball one day and kind of keeping the team morale up.
Yeah. I mean, that's an important part. One of the things is that kind of a conscious thing that the sophomores have tried to do, the team has tried to do, is Rachel kind of bringing that group together.
Yeah, especially with such a small squad, it's super important that the chemistry's there, So, yeah, I know I've been trying to rally everybody together, do some fun things as a team, so yeah.
All right, looking forward. You guys have had some injuries lately. Had to cancel 3 games last week. Yeah. At your home tournament, which is tough.
Yeah.
But those 3 games, and then the conference games you're going to miss, you're going to have to make those all up. It's going to be a lot of games towards the end of the season. What's the mindset of the team? Just get healthy and let's win some games, or?
Yeah, pretty much. I think everyone's kind of disappointed because it's not something that we planned for to happen in our season. But Rachel gave us a little pep talk the other day that we all need to look at the positive side of things. Now that we're at pretty much the lowest of the low, all we can do is go up from here. And so I think we've all taken on that mentality. So we're just working hard so that we get back stronger than ever.
I love to hear about a positive Rachel Grutzmacher. So thank you, Presley and Leanna, for joining us here on Cuesta Sports Monthly. Thank you again for Presley Acosta and Leanna Reed as a push for another trip to the playoffs for Cuesta's women's water polo team. We'll return right after this with Vice President Jason Curtis.
Cuesta.edu. Television, radio, broadcast, communications. Explore the world of digital communication and tap into your creative genius. Television, radio, broadcast, communications.
This is your boy, the DUI, and you're listening to KGUR.org.
Your digital future is at Cuesta College right now. Log on to Cuesta.edu now for enrollment dates and class information.
Don't put the boom in the shot. blowing it, bro.
Cuesta.edu.
Welcome back to Cuesta Sports Monthly. We appreciate the opportunity to speak with longtime friend of the program, Vice President Jason Curtis. Jason, welcome back to Cuesta Sports Monthly. How are
Good to
you?
be back, Pete. Nice to see you.
You've kind of moved around. They've done some administrative shuffling. You are back in charge of athletics again. How's that feel to be back with all the jocks?
It feels good. It feels right. I mean, I would clarify, it's just, some of that's just names on an org chart, and it doesn't mean that much. As the Vice President of Instruction, I've always been over athletics, but the athletic director specifically was reporting to the superintendent president for a while, but that was nuance there. But yeah, it's great to be back and feel like a little more influence over the programs, and back working with Athletic Director Mariucci on the program directions and what's next.
Now, one of the things, coming back to campus from the pandemic, as the last time we've had you on here was before the pandemic. So, what are some of the things you're seeing on campus with athletics, with the regular students that we need to move forward on, or changes?
Yeah, thanks, Pete. Cuesta's trajectory through the pandemic was interesting, a little bit different than some community colleges. Some community colleges took a really big hit early on, sort of fall 20, spring 21. Cuesta, we maintained a lot of in-person operations as much as possible, including athletics. We allowed our teams to continue practicing with enhanced safety protocols and other things, and we really held on to competition for as long as we could. So in that way, we didn't see some of the big drops in enrollment that other community colleges saw. We did see our drop a little bit more in fall 21 and even fall 22. We were still dipping a little bit. But as we've brought back more in-person classes, we've seen the students coming back to campus, and the enrollment's definitely on the way back up. Like this fall right now, we're about 6% above where we were last fall at this time.
Now, can you attribute to that partially to the fact that Cuesta is kind of a destination community college and people weren't leaving home as much, or is that?
Yeah, I think that could be part of the explanation, but also just the mix of programs, right? Being there where students wanted to be, and so we have a number of programs outside athletics that had to be shut down during the pandemic and still haven't quite come back. Some of our nursing programs and things like that. So that's kept our enrollment down a little bit in some areas. And then it really is just that, I think we've had some graduating classes from the local high schools where those students spent a year or more fully online, and some of them were probably not ready to go to college online. And so they took some time off. And we're still working on bringing some of those students back, convincing some of those students to come and give Cuesta a try.
Back in person?
Back at all, really. Yeah, back to college, because the economy was so many jobs out there that, at least if you're willing to work in the gig economy or whatever, that I think some people who graduated high school just grabbed the first $18 an hour job they could get and said, I'll go to college later, and they're still waiting for later.
Okay. So, the students in campus, would you like to see, I know we're doing a lot of stuff online. Would you like to see them more face-to-face? Would you like to get them back on campus? We see kind of, that seems to be a slower part of the transition back, is the face-to-face. Is that true?
Yeah, I think it's true that campus feels quieter right now, whether you're talking about the SLO campus or the North County campus. Some of that is our mix of offerings. So before the pandemic, we were about 1/4 of our courses were fully online, and right now we sit at just over 40% that are fully online. So, that's quite a few more students who aren't coming to our campuses for any reason, and that has other effects, right? It affects clubs, it affects what we can do at the bookstore, what we're doing in the cafeteria, and other things, because all of those are enterprise operations, and if students aren't here to be the customers, then it's hard for those businesses to stay open.
Now, just as a general thing, as an educator, do you think that's a little bit tougher for the students, just I mean, online you miss so much, I think, than you would the interaction, I think. Is that going to be tougher for just the populace, I think, I guess?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's a lot that's been written about students and how they're doing. Sometimes students may feel like the fully online class is the option for them because it's going to allow them to be flexible with work and allow them to work at their own pace. But in reality, a full schedule of fully online classes over the course of 18 weeks, I think starts to feel kind of lonely.
Right.
And you have to, as a student, you have to go into it with the right mentality and the right skills and tools to be able to navigate that kind of schedule. So I think each student needs to figure out what the best mix is for them. And in my office, the goal is to make sure that we have online offerings and face-to-face offerings as much as possible without duplicating everything, as much as possible so that students can get the schedule that works for them.
Well, some of the students that are on campus are the athletes. And so just kind of what's kind of the importance of athletics to that? I mean, first you get the visibility, but also then you have the students who are also full-time students. I think it's about 8 to 10% of our full-time students are athletes. Is that correct?
I don't know the exact percentage. I'll definitely take your word for that.
All right.
But it's definitely true that, like I said, part of the return from the pandemic was just trying to keep our athletics teams as strong as possible because those students are taking a full load of other general ed electives and making progress toward their majors. So it's been important to keep athletics strong because that helps move the rest of the college along.
And now you've made some steps this year. We're talking about the prices of the vans, the buses, but also kind of the per diems and kind of helping the team when they do travel down.
That's right.
That's a jump that had not happened since the 70s. And I just kind of wanted to see your perspective on that.
Yeah, well, I mentioned at the beginning that athletics, the athletic director was reporting to the superintendent president, and Dr. Stearns had an opportunity to sort of see the athletics budget up close and personal and realize where maybe things needed to change. And part of that was places where we really the college needed to make a bigger investment in athletics in terms of, with the price of gas, transportation costs for athletics have gone way up. And so adding more to the athletics budget for transportation. And the per diem thing was huge. It just became a matter of almost equity or helping meet students' basic needs to make sure that when we give athletes money when they're traveling on behalf of the college, that we don't tell them, you get $5 for breakfast and $7 for lunch.
It was 3.
So we're trying to get those up to more reasonable amounts.
Okay. One of the things that we've kind of, and Cuesta's kind of doing this, and they've seen a lot of the community colleges are bringing back athletics or expanding athletics, and we've got a couple of sports that we've been talking about, and let's talk about a little bit about those, why schools would increase that and what Cuesta's looking at.
Yeah, well, I mean, we just talked about the fact that athletes, because they need to be full-time students, they bring with them full-time student enrollment, and they bring visibility to the college, and they might come from out of the area to come to the college. So I think those are all the reasons colleges want to consider adding different teams or new teams. For us right now, and for me, not just because it's my passion and one of my favorites, but ever since the California community colleges brought in beach volleyball, or sand volleyball it was called in the early years, I've thought that we're the right place for that. And I do dream of somewhere down the line Cuesta hosting the state beach volleyball championships. We've got a great central location. We've got some good courts on campus, and we also have some beautiful courts down at Pismo that I think would make for a really good destination for a state tournament. So
I think Pismo was the kind of birthplace of beach volleyball in California, so that'd be a great spot to bring that back to the Central Coast. Jason, thank you very much for joining us. That concludes today's edition of Cuesta Sports Monthly. We'd like to thank today's guest, Dr. Jason Curtis, and our water poloists, Presley Acosta, Ethan Merrit, Leanna Reed, and Matthew Wheeler. Remember to stay up to date with your Cougars. Visit the Cuesta College Athletic website, at QuestaAthletics.com. This show is produced at Cuesta College by the Cuesta Film, Television, and Electronic Media Department as part of the Cuesta TV project. I'm Peter Schuler, and for all of us here at Cuesta College, thank you for watching, and thank you for your support of Cuesta College Athletics.